Hello and welcome to CLEA'S World. I am Clea, and today I will be sharing with you more of the information I've received from the 25th dimension during my last BQH hypnosis session. I'll be reading from a transcript of the session, and when I refer to Lorrayne, I'm speaking of my practitioner who's asking me questions I prepared in advance of the session. And when I refer to me, I'm speaking of myself under hypnosis, which means the answers are coming from the 25th dimension. I'm going to jump in and start reading here, but before I do, I want to thank you as always for subscribing, liking, and commenting on this video. And I love it, brings me so much joy to see your comments, so please keep those coming. Thank you so much. All right, here we go. Lorrayne. Clea saw a clip of the Zuckerberg NPC telling his employees that we don't know the long-term effects of the, and it's one of these things, but it's the special one that has, the super duper that changes your genes, basically. and that's actually part of the attraction that some people hadn't taken it. They thought, believe it or not, this is how we like to believe our own thing. Doesn't matter what is going on in the world, what we think of facts or whatever. So people thought it was a good idea to change their genetic structure. Okay. All right, so they should not take it. This is after he mandated them in his company and has been one of its biggest public advocates and censors of people who spoke against it. Why the change of tune? Is it because he cannot find employees and he's trying to hold on to the ones he still has? Because he also has just fired 15,000 employees. Me. Yeah, so they're suffering. This is just proof. These companies are suffering. We think of them as these behemoths and nothing can happen to them. They're all suffering, actually. This is why they're doing these things like he fired 15,000 people. He cannot find people, but he's also suffering at financial level. And so what's happening is that he's trying to hold on to some of the people that he wants. So he's not passing on this information because he's good or because he can even change, even if he wanted to, that he could change his stance in a public way. He cannot, because this actor would be taken out immediately. He would be replaced immediately if he did that. The original Zuckerberg has been gone for a while. But so no, he's doing this because he's trying to hold on to some people, but at the same time, he's not saying anything. He's not saying anything new. Not only, but this shows us how he's picking up on some of the things, the very mild things that are being said about these products. Again, we said it's not going to come out that they were trying to kill us all and depopulate the earth, okay? It's not going to be about that. It's going to be about the fact that we're not sure, we didn't have all the data, all mild, very mild things. So yeah, he's putting it out there, right? So you see how they always say everything and the opposite of everything, and it all goes. So they create all this confusion. So there are multiple goals being achieved when they say these things. Again, he's been the one that's been pushing these more than anybody else, really, censoring people who spoke against them, telling all his employees to take it. And now here he is saying, oh, we really don't know the long-term effects. He's trying to align himself so they can go back and say, oh, but we said this, right? It's all part of the game. So yeah, but they're suffering, these companies. Now, it seems like he could get rid of 15,000 people. And well, it wasn't his choice. He had to, because he basically pretty much said it clearly that the company's suffering. Metaverse, we defined it as stillbirth. Metaverse is the past already. If we had stayed here, they wouldn't even exist in 2 or 3 years' time. They are the past. They're collapsing like everything else. Some of these megaliths, because these bigger companies would have collapsed faster than others because they have been so prominent and so visible in this entire debacle. And this company is one of them. Thank you. Okay. Amore Muse says, I feel dragons were real and have apparently been seen more and more all over the world. What does the 25th say? Me. And they were laughing here. So dragons. So we've spoken about this many times. There are several perspectives of reality, several layers you can look at. So just like when we say that we're all one, but then we experience ourselves, even at a higher self level, as being separate when we are within the matrix, because we want to experience things a certain way. Same thing with dragons. So we're asking, are dragons real? Yes, they're real. They're real because there is no limitation to what the essence can do. So the essence can be a dragon. There are essences that experience being dragons, and that's great. Now she's asking, dragons are being seen. Are they here? No, they're not. Dragons are not real on this planet. And so these people were saying they're seeing them. They're saying it because it makes them feel special to say they've seen them. Just as simple as that. And they want to believe that they exist. So of course, they might even believe they're seeing them. We're not saying they're necessarily lying. Now, we've spoken about this before. Are we saying they don't exist as in they don't exist, period? We already said they do exist. They do exist just like everything exists, because the essence can create anything. So the fact that we want to see certain things, we can create them, right? But do they exist in the way that I know this bed exists or a chair exists? No, they don't. So are people seeing them in a 3D way? No, they're not seeing them. That's what we meant to say. We like to believe a lot of things, and a lot of people just go along with somebody saying something. They just go along. And if she went inside, she will know. She would connect. She would know that these things are not really, it's not really the way that she thinks is happening, where they're real here, and we might run into them. Now, keep in mind, we spoke about the fact that the matrix glitches in front of us all the time. And so we actually work hard at keeping it a certain way. We will never allow these dragons, actual real dragons, the way we think of 3D, to come into this reality. We're doing so much to keep this reality the way it is. That's the whole point, the whole idea of the shell. We will never allow this to happen. Does it mean they don't exist at all, or we cannot connect with them? If we go somewhere else, we could be the dragon. We could be the dragon when we connect. Our higher self can do whatever it wants. I thought this was a very cool question and answer, actually, so I'm glad there are more news asked it. Lorraine, thank you. She also asks another question. Would it help expedite our departure if we declare that we do not consent to being here longer and want to leave now? And man, I feel it. I know where this question is coming from, and I feel it. I am chomping at the bits myself. So let's hear what the 25th says. So they were laughing. Intention always helps. Intention is what creates all of reality. The problem is she's saying, okay, would it help if I declare this now? It really doesn't matter what she does. I mean, she can do it upside down if she wants to. She can hang from the ceiling while saying that. I mean, we've spoken about this in many instances where we said, there's no one thing you have to do or do a certain way for your intention to behave a certain way. Your intention is all powerful. And the problem is she's asking us, how do we expedite this? Well, she's the one that's decided to stay here for X amount of time or to finish this one experience. So the question is, we can turn this question to her as, why are you intending to stay here if now you're saying you want to move on? Now, we don't mean to be facetious about this. We completely, fully understand what's behind this question. All of us, many of us are suffering because we are still here. So we're not trying to minimize the meaning behind the question. She's trying to find some relief, some hope that perhaps there is a way for us to get out of here faster. All of us, that's all we're thinking about, and they were laughing here because they know. How can we get out of here already? So the question is very apropos in that sense. We are just simply stating that her intention is already to stay here. So therefore, there's really nothing she can declare or say or write or chant that's going to change that, unless she changes her mind about it. Now, she might think her mind is already changed. She might think, clearly, if I want to go, it means I want to go. But is it clear? Because if she really, truly intended to be gone, she would be gone, but she isn't, which means really her intention is being betrayed by the situation, by her actions. Her action is that she's still here. Therefore, while she says to herself, I want to be gone, which we all agree with, we talked about this at length in the last session. We all want to be gone. But at the same time, we also want to be here for a little bit longer and then be gone. And then we'll feel good about being gone. So she's asking, can we expedite the timeline? Of course the timeline can be expedited. Again, it depends on you and whatever you guys want to experience. So it doesn't matter how she does it. Lorraine, I would have to say that I am betraying my intentions as well. She was laughing. Okay, what does losing teeth in dreams mean? And this actually was, again, one of my questions, because I had a dream where I was losing my teeth. And I noticed a very popular thing to happen in dream state. And it must have happened to me at some point a very long time ago, because I don't even specifically remember. But it happened randomly out of nowhere a couple of weeks ago, I would say maybe last month, so in November. And I just wonder, I'm like, that's out of nowhere. Why me? Okay. The reason this question came up is because Claire had a dream just this morning about her losing teeth. And she doesn't quite remember all the details, but we will tell her that it had to do with the fact that she thought there was a loss. So it is not that it symbolizes losing a particular thing, like something is going to happen. What it symbolizes when you lose teeth is that there is a loss of something important. Clearly, we are all very much want to keep our teeth here. And so in the dream, what happened is that she was anguished by losing her teeth. It was actually one tooth right in front, so it was very obvious. But then she realized that as soon as the tooth fell out, she actually had her tooth still in place. And so we're showing her that, one, loss is not real. It's how we perceive things. And also that there is something going on behind the scenes that is not so in the dream, whatever she was going through while this was happening, which was there were a lot of people, et cetera, there's a loss there. But really behind the scenes, we don't lose anything. Everything was perfectly fine. And so we'll answer the question in terms of how it was asked, which was almost from a dream interpretation perspective. Because many people think when you lose teeth in dreams, it means you're going to lose somebody. Somebody's going to pass, or whatever the thing might be, or you're not going to get what you want. Really, it just symbolizes loss, as in how you feel about something. You feel like you're losing something, that something is changing. But in reality, it doesn't mean that's the case. It's only the case if you believe it. If you instead go a little deeper, you might find that you're not losing anything. And that, which is the case here, because really nothing is ever lost, and then everything is fine. And we showed that to Clea. And so the anxiety, the anguish dissipated very quickly. And that is absolutely true. All right, I'm going to ask here, this is Tommy. We haven't seen him in a while. So Tommy, thank you for joining. Hello, say hi, my love. I'm going to go here briefly into a section that I always include in all my questions of what I refer to as personal questions. It really, all it means is that clearly I'm not sharing with you anything that would be irrelevant. So the reason I'm sharing these, the reason I even ask these questions sometimes is because I know that if something is happening to me, then it must be happening to other people as well, or I outright know that something is happening to me and other people, perhaps in the group or in the community, and therefore I ask about it. So in this case, here was my question. Clea said she's losing passion for life, including the thought of new earth. Will the passion come back? She feels like she had a full life already, and there's really nothing more to get excited about. And this is the recurring theme that I have had, Lorrayne has had, and many other people are having, where we are just bored and we don't feel excited about anything. And so this one day I started thinking, I'm not even excited at the thought of new earth anymore, because I just fail to get excited about anything anymore. It's like, when you're a child, you're excited about Christmas, you're excited about doing this and that. These days, I feel like I'm dead inside. I don't know what is wrong with me. So I wanted to ask the 25th about it. So let's hear what they say. Me. Yeah. So we spoke about this at length, but basically, yes, it will come back, of course. It will come back. She only feels this way because, again, many of us feel this way. We're going through a very tedious reality, because we find there is this discrepancy between the fact that we know we create this reality, but then how come this reality looks so crappy? So we're chomping at bits. But I think this has been the theme all day today, talking about these things, that we feel this frustration. We feel like there's really nothing more there. There can't be, because clearly, despite everything I've done, reality still looks just as crappy as always. But no, that's not true. And once it becomes apparent to us, because we're on the other side, we will know exactly why we went through this, and we'll be completely and perfectly happy. Now, we don't mean to say, we already said on new earth is going to be pretty rough for us once we realize a lot of things, and we're going to need some time to integrate. But it's going to be just fine. Clea is going to find her joie de vivre again, like many of us, and we'll be fine. We do still want to go to new earth. Clea was thinking, maybe I don't want to go to new earth anymore. Maybe I just want to be done. You, Lorrayne, mentioned something very similar. The truth is, you still very much want to go to new earth. This is what you've been aligned with, not just in this lifetime, but many lifetimes. You decided this a long time ago. And I'm glad they said this, because I was like, okay, so what's the difference? I mean, I can go hang out with the aliens. I can go to the 3D chambers, be perfectly happy. I mean, what's this big deal with new earth, right? Why would I even choose this? But then I'm glad they said that. This is not something that we chose in the synchronization. This is something that we might have decided hundreds of years ago. So I really wanted to share this answer with you, just in case you're feeling a little annoyed with reality. like I am. Lorrayne, thank you. Okay, Clea says, in my current life, I've learned that it is best to be the first person to leave than the last, even when she wants to stay at an event longer. And yet now I'm going to be one of the last people to leave this planet. Why did I learn to come to appreciate the opposite in this life? Me. So yeah, this was an interesting question, and they were laughing because she's thinking that, again, since she's aligning, why would she learn this or come to appreciate leaving something quickly when in reality, here she is last minute, there's her and 12 of her bodies, pretty much. And they were laughing here. It's just an experience she wanted to have. In fact, it's the opposite experience she's having at a higher self level. This is why, because we do want to experience things we wouldn't experience otherwise. So yeah, this is exactly the opposite of what she's actually going through right now. And that's perfectly okay. It wasn't part of the alignment. It was part of the experience of experiencing something different. Lorrayne, thank you. You've gotten through some of this before, but I'm going to read this. Clea says, what is going on with my car getting hit by another bullet hole, this time on the roof on top of her daughter's head? And once again, something happened while we were parked. I thought the first issue happened because I had wanted to have the car fixed. But what about this? What's my higher self after? If it's about distraction, I'm still picking from low vibe choices. Is it a distraction so I don't work on real estate? Is it more my adrenaline junkie tendencies? Because I thought I left those behind. I have not been resisting staying here longer, and yet this low vibe stuff is still happening. Why? And you may have heard me speak about this, the fact that my car got hit with a bullet on top of the roof, and again, right on top of my daughter's car seat. I kind of freaked out because this had happened one other time where my daughter was in the car and we were in the middle of a situation where we got shot at, our car got shot at, and several cars around us as well. It was a car chase situation, like in the movies. I'm telling you, especially growing up in Italy, I didn't even think these things really happen. I thought it was movie stuff, and now I'm like in the middle of it. Me. Yeah, so yes, we've spoken about some of this, but we'll just say that it has nothing to do with the second bullet, has nothing to do with the fact that she's an adrenaline junkie, because like she says, she's left that behind. In fact, this happened when they weren't even in the car. In fact, it didn't even go through the fabric in the car. So it really would have not affected her daughter. And so, yeah, this is very much what we've discussed previously in the fact that we choose from lower vibrational things to keep ourselves occupied. So this has just kept her occupied. Now she's getting a little bit annoyed with this, and they were laughing here. So she might find another way to keep herself entertained or distracted, we should say, because it's not quite entertaining at all at this point. So no, it has nothing to do with the real estate. We already said if she wants to start working on that, she can. Obviously, there won't be a lot of time for all of this to come through. But if this is something that, again, keeps her distracted in a way that's not so low vibration, then it's a good thing to do. Maybe all of you should find something where you're distracted by purposeful action. And so you don't have to run into so many snags. And it's a suggestion, of course, nothing more. And Clea has very much realized this. This is why now she's even considering taking on some part-time work, again, just to fill her time so that she doesn't feel like she's got to fill it with taking care of these mishaps. So yes, the two things are unrelated in terms of the bullets in the car. The first time it had to do with her having to realize what she was doing to distract herself for entertainment purposes, but this has nothing to do with that. And I am glad, because it's not good, especially when my daughter is anywhere in the picture there. I realize that she would have been fine, but I just don't even want to think about it. Lorrayne, thank you. Okay. Clea says, you said that the music venue next to me would not open until December, but it has already opened. You also said that the California deal could close, but now the seller has canceled it. Why do we get the wrong predictions? Is it you could not predict the future as the future does not exist? Or is it me filtering when I receive your messages? Am I making mistakes when I want an answer to be a certain way? Have I screwed up anywhere else? Should I not be asking you certain types of questions? Now, if you watch any of my previous videos, you know that I'm always very inquisitive, even when it comes to myself. I don't want to play the fool. I want the truth. So I do whatever I can to keep myself honest and straightforward. And so if I am not getting something that I can see in reality, I will point it out. So this is not because I want to undermine all the messages they've given us. But if I see one thing out of 1,000 messages that's not really panning out, I'm like, what's going on? So I'm a little bit high maintenance in that sense. But again, the 25th seems to appreciate it, so I go with it. Me. So we'll say she does not. She's not filtering. However, she does feel pressure. This is her belief. She does feel pressure when she asks certain questions, where she knows that she would like the answer to look a certain way. So she feels pressure and she second guesses herself and she doubts herself and she wonders, am I only getting this answer because this is what I want? And they're referring to personal type questions, obviously, where I would know or where I would want something to be a certain way. Like in this case, they're referring to, again, a music venue that's opened up in my building or right next door to my building. And I was concerned that it might be extremely loud or extremely problematic in terms of the people around here, but really none of that has happened. So it actually is not a bad thing at all. So if she prefers not to ask certain questions because she's going to second guess herself, then absolutely she's very welcome to do that. Now, we have no problem. We don't predict things as in there is a future that needs to be predicted. We simply bring up what the essence has planned at a certain point. And we've seen it with the takedown. We had planned this for many, many centuries, actually, in terms of 3D Earth years. And all of a sudden, last minute, you guys decided to change your minds. Does it mean we were wrong? Does it mean we're misleading you? So we talked about this. So in this case, they were not supposed to open. Something did, in fact, happen with this venue where they weren't going to open. They weren't going to be able to open. But then they worked around it and they were able to open. But this is something that happened because there's still somebody with an essence involved in this business. And somebody with an essence basically intended that things would go a certain way. So because of this, this has happened. But as we also said, and Claire is not mentioning, is that even though they have events there, this is causing absolutely no problems for her. And in fact, is bringing up the value of the area, all the things we had spoken about. And it's true, they did tell me all these things would happen. So really, at the end of the day, the date of opening has made absolutely no difference. Lorrayne, thank you. You have 3 minutes to tell any final statement that you would like to say to close the session. And I had an appointment that I had to go through, so we were a little bit rushed that day. Me. Yes, we will close this by saying that we completely sympathize with what you are going through. We have said this before. You're going through things we did not even think that were possible. You're doing amazingly well. You are, in fact, moving through the emotions so quickly. You're learning so quickly. This is absolutely making an impact everywhere. And we say to you to not worry. Of course, we understand it's not easy to absorb from a 3D perspective, to stop worrying. A lot of what you experience in terms of tediousness, in terms of being frustrated because you feel like you're missing something, like you're not getting it somehow, that things are still not the way you want them to look, is very much happening because you're worried. You're worried that this is not going to happen. We know this is what's in the back of Claire's mind. She thinks maybe this is never going to happen. What is happening is, this is why she's questioning. She's saying, oh, you told me this one thing that didn't pan out. We told her many, many things that have happened. They were laughing. But now she's saying, you told me this one thing and it hasn't happened. So is it me? Am I filtering information? No, she's done a good job of not filtering information and passing it on the way we intended. But at the same time, we change our minds. Just like we said, we're here now. We were never supposed to be here. So we will say to you, as much as you can, do not worry, because nothing has changed. Our plan has not changed. And we're very much on par with what we intend to do here. Everything is moving forward. You will feel very relieved when the recall happens, and they're referring to the call of this thing. Whether you decide to move on immediately after that or not, because you will know whenever these doubts come up again, you will know, see, but that's happened. You need something to anchor you. That's what that's going to do for you. It's going to anchor you in your consciousness, the fact that things are happening. You are moving forward. Thank you so much for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.